Bangladesh's garment industry is welcoming relief after the United States reduced tariffs under a new trade deal, easing pressure on exporters reliant on American market. Factory owners say the 1% cut along with exemptions for US sourced materials could boost competitiveness and protect jobs. Still, industry leaders urge caution, calling for better planning, stronger supply chains, and continued reforms to sustain growth in an increasingly competitive global landscape ahead today.
Bangladesh's crucial ready-made garments industry has welcomed the decision by the United States to reduce tariffs under a newly negotiated bilateral trade agreement, offering much-needed relief to exporters and manufacturers who depend heavily on the American market. In a significant development aimed at strengthening trade ties, the US has agreed to cut tariffs on Bangladeshi apparel imports by 1 percentage point, bringing the rate down to 19% from the 20% imposed earlier during the Trump administration in August. The agreement grants exemptions for certain textiles and garments made with US-sourced materials, a step industry leaders say will strengthen bilateral supply chains. The move offers relief to garment exporters in Bangladesh grappling with rising costs, tough global competition, and economic uncertainty, with even small tariff cuts expected to improve competitiveness and protect market share. Garment factory owner and director of Bangladesh Garment Manufacturers and Exporters Association, Mohyuddin Rubal, welcomed the move but urged the industry to stay cautious and plan for the future.
This will be really a good advantage if we can do it in practically. So there are some challenges as well to implement it, but the bottom line is this is a good advantage if you can take it. Because for example, just an example, like if you are reducing your reciprocal tariff by 1%, it's 1%. But if you can make your product with that cotton from USA, you can reduce by 19%. So of course this will be a big impact in practical if you can implement it.
Despite the tariff relief, Bangladesh's rates remain marginally higher than that of neighboring India, whose imports into the US are set to face an 18% tariff under a separate agreement reached last week. However, officials know that India deal is still subjected to further negotiations before it is finalized. The ready-made garments industry continues to serve as the backbone of Bangladesh's economy. The sector contributes over 80% of the country's total export earnings and provides employment to nearly 4 million workers, most of whom are women. It also accounts for roughly 10% of the nation's gross domestic product, making it one of the most critical pillars of economic growth and stability.
Every reduction will be an added advantage for our competition. But of course, if it was like 2% to 5%, it would help more. But even in 1%, like after the reduction of 1%, now we are to the level of all of our competitors except India only, who is basically getting 18%. But still, the 1% reduction will help.
The trade development also came at a politically sensitive time for Bangladesh. The country went to the polls on Thursday, February 12, to elect new leadership. Bangladesh had been under an interim administration since August 2024, when former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina left the country and sought refuge in India, where she continued to stay. While challenges remain, the agreement is being viewed as a step forward in reinforcing trade relations and supporting one of the nation's most vital industries.